D'abord, je souhaite la bienvenue à notre directrice générale, Madame la Directrice Générale, Monsieur les représentants des universités Mohammed V et l'université Ibn Tofail, et mes chers étudiants de ces deux universités, marhaba bikoum. Mesdames et Messieurs les représentants du ministère de l'économie et des finances et de la réforme de l'administration, Mesdames et Messieurs, membres de la délégation qui accompagnent Madame la Directrice Générale, mes chères étudiantes, mes chers étudiants et chers collègues qui sont parmi nous ce matin. C'est pour moi un immense plaisir et honneur d'accueillir Mme Kristalina Georgieva, Directrice Générale du Fonds Monétaire International à l'Université Internationale de Rabat, mais au nom de trois universités, l'Université Mohammed V, l'Université Ibn Tofail et l'Université Internationale de Rabat, avec qui nous formons donc un pôle régional universitaire Rabat-Salé-Kinitra. Je tiens à lui présenter les plus vifs remerciements d'avoir accepté notre invitation pour une conférence et un échange avec les étudiants de nos trois universités. Mesdames et Messieurs, permettez à présent d'introduire Madame la Directrice Générale. Croyez-moi, ça ne va pas être une tâche facile parce que c'est un CV très riche, un parcours exceptionnel, mais je vais essayer quand même de m'y atteler à la tâche. Madame la Directrice Générale a été nommée à son poste actuel, donc au FMI, le 25 septembre 2019. Elle est la première femme à la tête de cette organisation venant d'un pays émergent de l'Europe de l'Est. Elle est aussi la seconde femme, après Christine Lagarde, à occuper ce poste de Directrice Générale du FMI. Madame Georgieva donc, a auparavant occupé le poste de Directrice Générale de la Banque mondiale de janvier 2017 à septembre 2019 et a assuré pendant 3 mois la présidence par intérim du groupe de la Banque mondiale. Au niveau européen, elle a été nommée vice-présidente de la Commission européenne chargée du budget et des ressources humaines. Elle était responsable du budget de 161 milliards d'euros de l'Union européenne ainsi que des 33 000 agents de la Commission. Elle a également été commissaire européenne chargée de la coopération internationale, de l'aide humanitaire et de la réponse aux crises, gérant à ce titre un des plus importants budgets d'aide humanitaire au monde. Depuis son arrivée en 1993 à la Banque mondiale, en tant qu'économiste spécialiste de l'environnement, Mme Georgieva a occupé plusieurs postes et a assumé plusieurs hautes responsabilités au sein de cette haute institution pendant plus de 17 ans, lui conférant une expertise dans les domaines des finances, du développement durable et de la gestion des dossiers d'immigration et de gestion de crise au niveau européen et international. Elle est membre de nombreuses commissions internationales, dont la Commission mondiale sur l'adaptation et le groupe de haut niveau des Nations Unies sur le financement humanitaire. En 2010, elle a été élue européenne de l'année et commissaire de l'année par European Voice pour Leadership, dont elle a fait preuve dans l'action humanitaire de l'Union européenne face aux crises. Vous voyez que ce n'est pas facile. Et là, on résume. J'arrive à la fin et la partie qui me plaît encore le plus chez notre directrice générale, c'est le plan académique. Sur le plan académique, elle est titulaire d'un doctorat en sciences économiques et d'une maîtrise en économie politique et sociologie de l'Université d'économie nationale et mondiale de Sofia, Bulgarie. Elle a été professeure agrégée de 1977 à 1993 dans cette même université. Elle a été professeure invitée à la London School of Economics et au MIT. Elle a à son actif plus d'une centaine de publications sur des thématiques environnementales et économiques, dont des manuels de macroéconomie. Alors vous voyez, ça mérite des applaudissements, s'il vous plaît. Donc, si je dois continuer, il faut prendre plus la matinée. Donc là, je vais m'arrêter là pour l'introduction de Madame la Directrice Générale. Je voudrais profiter de cette occasion, d'abord pour, en tant que citoyen marocain, donc remercier Donc, le groupe Banque mondiale et le FMI pour l'événement qui va être organisé en 2021. Donc, en tant que citoyen marocain, on ne peut que se réjouir de ce type d'événement. Et je voudrais remercier aussi le ministère de l'économie et des finances de nous avoir sollicité pour mobiliser nos étudiants qui sont mobilisés pour cet événement, à l'instar de ce qu'on a fait pour la COP22, où nos étudiants donc, ont fortement participé donc à l'organisation et aussi donc même à faire des rapports de synthèse. Bien, donc je suis convaincu que vous allez inspirer nos étudiants, Madame la Directrice Générale, par votre exposé, tout à l'heure, ici présent, et j'espère qu'ils vont aussi bénéficier de votre longue expérience et de vos conseils durant l'heure d'échange que vous allez avoir avec nos étudiants. Et maintenant, sous vos applaudissements, s'il vous plaît, je demande à Madame la Directrice Générale de rejoindre l'estrade, accompagnée de Mademoiselle Norgi, notre étudiante de l'UR, qui modérera cette conférence et certainement mieux que moi. Je vous remercie pour votre attention.
First, marhaba.
So, Madame Georgieva, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, welcome to Morocco and welcome to the International University of Rabat. As said by Mr. Mohammed, the President of the International University of Rabat, it is both a blessing and an honor to have you among us today. I, however, would like to start out with a tweet that you posted during the Global Women's Forum in Dubai on Twitter. And you said, I quote, "The tide is turning for women in the Middle East. Policies that promote gender equality bring high economic and social returns. We need the boost the women can provide to the economy." So from that tweet, I understand that you're a women's rights advocate and that you are a strong and a firm believer in the future of women in both the Middle East and in the African continent. And as the saying goes, I know you know it, the future is female. For that very, very reason, I am proud to be sitting today alongside one of the most influential and powerful women in the world. However, I believe that the question on everyone's mind is, what is the purpose of your trip to Morocco?
Well, let me first say that as a former professor, I always get the thrill being in an audience and being able to speak to students, to be with students. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be with you today. And it is even more important because we can see the tremendous tradition of Morocco, the country that has given the world the first university founded by a woman, and we are now in a brand new university, just 10 years old, with a partnership of 3 universities for my visit today. So, why am I here?
Yes.
I thought it is very obvious. Morocco is a fantastic country. So how can I possibly do my job without visiting? And it is actually a country that has given the world quite a lot of innovation, and right now is one of the not very many countries that are brave to pursue difficult reforms to secure a better future for its people. We at the IMF are proud to be Morocco's partner. We work with Morocco on reforming the administration, the tax system, to make sure that there is full transparency, that public expenditures target what matters for growth and prosperity, and in particular, we focus on youth and we focus on women. And we do so because the only way for an economy to prosper is to tap in the talent of all its people, men and women. And just let me give you one number. If the world was to wake up tomorrow with women being fully equal to men, participating equally to men, this world would be $172 trillion richer. The wealth would grow that much. So it's good for women, of course it's good for men. My second reason to be here is because Morocco has been chosen to be the host of the next annual meetings of the World Bank and IMF. Now, why is this significant? It is significant because every 3 years we take the annual meetings from Washington to one of our members. And in that time, in the week of the annual meetings, the city that hosts the meetings becomes the financial and economic capital of the world. We have all finance ministers, all central bank governors, all business leaders, many parliamentarians, civil society, all coming to a place, and that of course lifts up the visibility of a country, and it creates very important, long-lasting benefits. So next year, in October, Marrakesh would be the financial and economic capital of the world. And I'm particularly pleased that it is going to be a city in Africa. For two reasons. One is good, the other one is less good. The good reason is because, of course, Africa, being the most youthful continent, is the continent of opportunity. Slightly less good reason is we haven't been here for a long time. I'm even embarrassed to say when it was last that the annual meetings were in Africa. So I only say it was a long time ago. Should I tell them how long? I'm looking at our secretary. In 1973, 47 years ago. So now we are back, great, and we are back in a great place, and this is even better.
Thank you. You mentioned that the IMF and Morocco have a relationship based on partnership through the securing of the finance and the economy. Could you explain exactly what this means?
Yeah. Okay, so let me first ask you, how many of you know what the IMF does? Raise your hand. Okay, so may I first give 101, IMF 101? The International Monetary Fund is an organization established in 1945, together with the World Bank, to provide stability to the world economy as it came out of the Second World War. We are a very big cooperative. We have 189 members. And our owners are the citizens of these members. So you, in this audience, are our bosses. You own us. What we do specifically in the IMF are three very important things. One, we are the family doctor for the world economy. We monitor each country, how well it is doing, what problems it is facing, and then we aggregate a picture to be able to tell everybody how good the economy is globally, how good it is regionally, how well it performs at the national level. And like every family doctor, we sometimes would have prescriptions. So let me give you the most recent. The world economy last year grew the slowest since the financial crisis, so not in great shape. It was mostly held back by trade tensions, creating uncertainty. When there is uncertainty, investors don't invest. And that slowed the growth of the world economy. This year, it is modestly recovering. We expect growth of 3.3%. But we also recognize that we are in a more shock-prone world. There are climate disasters, there are geopolitical tensions, and right now there is also coronavirus. So when we look at the status of the world economy, we tell everybody, be careful, use every policy tool you have at your disposal to give more predictability, boost confidence, and of course, on that basis, we want to see accelerated growth. So this is our first role, family doctor. Our second role is really great fun. It is to be a fitness instructor. So we go to countries and we say, okay, you want to do better, here are some of the things you can do. And as a fitness instructor, we engage every year in consultations with each of every one of our members. And then we come up with specific recommendations. You guys are all young. For my generation, I go to my fitness instructor, and there are things that she tells me to do I don't like because they're harsh. So sometimes we have to do that. And our third role, which actually gives us most press, is to be a firefighter. When a country gets into trouble, when it is really difficult to sustain economic activities, we come as a lender of last resort. We go and we provide much needed financial resources so economies can turn their fate around. So that's the IMF. In the case of Morocco, of course, we do our family doctor role. With Morocco, we have a very interesting program, which is precautionary credit line program. What it means is that the Moroccan government said to us, look, we are in good shape, our finances are sound, very true. Morocco, by the way, is one of the very few countries in Africa that has 22% of GDP as revenues. Most countries are 15%. 10 countries are under 10%, meaning they are really in a difficult financial spot. Morocco is not in that position. But Morocco says, we want to create investment opportunities. We want the world to see Morocco as a fantastic investment destination. And having that arrangement with the fund tells everybody that we have bought a very special insurance. If something goes wrong, we have a cushion with the IMF. And I'm proud to say, for Morocco, this is now since 2012, 4 times we have renewed this program. Never ever Morocco had to use its insurance policy, but it helped with the image of the country for international investors. And we are a source of analytical work for Morocco, a third-party analysis on issues that the country finds particularly important. Tax reform, for example, is one of these issues where the fund provides that kind of analysis. We have, yesterday I met with the Minister of Finance and we discussed what next. And you would not be surprised that on the list of what next, youth employment, youth entrepreneurship is very, very high. So some of you in this audience may be benefiting of some of the discussions we are having because it accelerates the availability of financial resources for young entrepreneurs and for women.
Thank you. You mentioned during your intervention that Africa was a resourceful and untapped continent, mostly for its youth. What can the IMF do for the youth, and most specifically the African youth?
Well, what we do for young people everywhere, but especially in the Middle East, North Africa, and Africa, the sub-Saharan Africa, what we do are 4 things. One, we are very actively engaged with countries on designing public spending policies that are beneficial to young people. For example, protecting funding for education, boosting funding for education, and emphasizing that money is important, but it is not enough. The quality of education matters. How much it is oriented towards the future matters. So we engage on that topic with all countries. Two, it is good to have education, but if it doesn't translate into a job, well, doesn't matter much. So we are very focused on how to make labor markets more dynamic. For example, here in Morocco, there is a very good program that helps the government jobs to be more competitive, more fluid, to have people exiting so young people can enter with new skills and new capabilities. It's a very good program that we actually advertise to other countries to do. And then we look at how we can make the job market more youth-friendly, because let's face it, we still have a very high unemployment. Over one quarter, 27% of young people in the Middle East are neither in education nor in a job. And this is much higher for women, 44%. So we have to look at why is it that the job market is not absorbing more actively. And that usually is about creating more space for small and medium-sized enterprises. They're those that create most of the jobs, and creating better competitive environment. Many of you here study management, yes? Who are the management students? Okay, so hugely important that the policy environment is such that competition is open, information is available, there is transparency, and that the red tape, the obstacles for competition are cleaned up, and of course that there is no corruption. The third thing is, so this, we want education, we want jobs, but more than anything else, we want to see the entrepreneurial capacity of young people unleashed. And that usually means access to credit, access to finance. One of the big things we are working on is how to make it so that somebody who has no assets and no track record can still have access to finance. And that means that we need to help financial institutions develop the capacity to make a judgment based on projections for the future cash flow. Because if you are to have assets or prior record, you end up being in a catch-22 situation. What is very encouraging is that big data now allows us much more precisely to project the future and to help financial institutions take more risk with young people and especially with women. Just in parentheses on the issue of women entrepreneurs. For reasons that I would be delighted if anybody can study, I don't quite know, women are better entrepreneurs than men in Africa, with my deepest apology to men, but this is the data. But women have 6 times less access to finance. So what is this? You have a great entrepreneurial resource that can be deployed to create jobs and opportunities, but you don't fund women to be entrepreneurs. So we work on that. And last but not least, we offer a platform for young people. In Marrakesh next year, we are explicitly targeting discussions on youth, and we want to see students at the annual meeting. So, those of you in the audience that are curious to see how annual meetings actually work, volunteer. There would be a special program to bring students to experience the annual meetings.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having this conversation with me in front of an audience basically composed of young people who are ready tomorrow to join the job market. And we appreciate the in-depth answers that you have provided for all of our questions. And now, if you're ready, it's time for the audience's questions. So I would like 3 people to volunteer questions.
I'm totally ready, and I can see a young woman over there.
Could you be the first one?
I must, so I see 2 women raising their hands. In the spirit of gender equality, we need men. Here is one. Great.
We can do first one, second one, and third one.
Yes. Okay.
Equal. And go to whichever mic is closer to you.
And do alert me if the question would be posed in either Arabic or French, so I need my earphones for them. Je comprends français, mais je ne comprends pas lire.
It's all English, don't worry.
Okay, good.
Hello, Mrs. Georgieva. It's a real honor, it's a real pleasure to welcome you here in our university. I'm Saad Frihi, a doctoral student in UIR Political Science School. Well, you've already mentioned it with quite a knowledgeable approach how important women have been on our academic history. Fatima Fihriya participated mainly and greatly in building the oldest yet still active university in the world, which is Al-Qarawiyyin in Fas. And we are still developing this history. This university is quite the example about this, about how a university can be young, still in an entrepreneur approach. And my question would be how the academic world that has been shaped here in Morocco by women, how a history that has been doing so can be a contribution nowadays to empower education, to empower women education in the region, in developing countries, and especially in the Islamic world. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, great question. Do you want me to take them one by one, or you want to?
Yeah.
Of universities, the ability to quickly transfer knowledge, best practice, and also create strong competition for the best students, for the best research projects, for integration with business. This is what defines the future success, or the current and future success of universities. I was very pleased when I realized that I am invited to be in one university, but my hosts are 3 universities. So that is the first thing I would very strongly recommend. Network. Don't be afraid to pass good faculty, bring students together, create joint programs, and do that. Use Morocco. Morocco is well advanced. Use Morocco to also influence the rest of the continent. We are very keen at the IMF to encourage this collaboration, but also to recruit from African universities. And of course, the more you integrate your capabilities, the stronger your standing and your competitive force globally is. Look, you know it, I don't need to tell young people that the speed of change is so accelerated, so dramatic, that relying only on your own basically means you're going to fall behind. It's as simple as that. My favorite saying is, enjoy the pace of change today, it will never be so slow in the future. And that means networks, partnerships, integrating the assets of the continent. You have a tremendously promising future, but only if the continent comes together. We are still seeing Africa being unnecessarily fragmented. We now have the Continental Free Trade Agreement, good thing to have. And I believe the academia can be a driver of this positive change, even being ahead of governments and even the business community, because it consists of young, dynamic people. That answers your question? Oh, by the way, I didn't say that. Very rarely I would have somebody asking me a question pronouncing my last name correctly. So, if I'm one of the faculty and I'm looking for, you're a PhD, right, in a PhD program, and I'm looking for bringing somebody in my research team, I go for you because you research your subject.
Second question.
Ma question sera en français. Tout d'abord, bonjour. Je m'appelle Kristalina Georgieva, étudiante en deuxième année master finance de marché et de l'entreprise à l'Université Mohammed de Rabat. Ah, d'accord.
C'est bon, c'est bon.
Je reprends.
Vous pouvez continuer.
Madame la Directrice Générale, votre prédécesseur à la tête du FMI a loué le modèle sur lequel se base la finance islamique et qui, selon elle, peut devenir un facteur de stabilité financière, déclaration faite à BFM le 12 novembre 2015. Par ailleurs, elle a confirmé que le FMI souhaitait s'impliquer dans le développement de la dite finance. Dès lors, quel est votre avis sur cette question et comptez-vous poursuivre cette voie au sein du FMI? Merci.
Absolument. In my previous job at the World Bank, we actually worked very hard to get Sharia-compliant financial instruments. And we also recognized the tremendous generosity of people in the Islamic world. So we ask ourselves how we can make, for example, zakat work more effectively to support people in dire circumstances, but also to be better linked to high-quality projects. How can we make it so that the financial flows from the Islamic world are more effective for development, for inclusive and sustainable development? And I can tell you that I would be very interested to continue on this path. We actually had, well, I shouldn't say we, they, the World Bank, they did the first green sukuk with Malaysia. And I see tremendous opportunities for recognizing the diversity in the world and the incredible quality of values that comes with Islam. We also are mindful that sometimes we face the challenge of extremism, and that finance has to be done in a way that does good and prevents bad. Yep.
Thank you. The third question, please.
I am Zainabidina Bara from Burkina Faso, presently a master's student at UER Business School. My choice to continue my higher education at UER has been motivated by the the excellent reputation of this university.
Yep. Bravo.
Okay, Madam Managing Director, I would like to know, the mission of IMF is to supervise the international monetary system. From a practical point of view, how that could be possible?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I try to explain our family doctor function. It is actually supervising the monetary system and overall the health of the world economy. From a practical standpoint, what it means are three things. One, we are the institution that has the mandate on the basis of detailed engagement with countries to build information on the functioning of national systems. In every so-called Article 4 consultation, one of our mandatory stops and engagements is central banks. And in that sense, we have very strong relations with the central bank here in Morocco and in every country of our membership. Secondly, we are often called the center of the world's financial safety net. Our job is to protect the monetary system of the world from shocks by having a very sound buffer to be used if there is trouble, if there is a balance of payment problem or countries in a rough spot. Currently, this safety net role is backed by $1 trillion. So at the center of the world's safety net, financial safety net, is the fund's $1 trillion capacity and the fund's capacity to survey what is happening. And three, together with other institutions like the Bank for International Settlement or the Financial Stability Board, we signal advice for action by monetary authorities. And let me give you a very recent example. Last year, we observed that 90% of the world economy was slowing down. We call that synchronized slowdown. And what we communicated was that there is a need for accommodative monetary policy as well as for fiscal stimulus and structural reforms. By the virtue of giving this clear signal of synchronized slowdown, we have seen central banks around the world taking action in a synchronized manner. 49 central banks cut interest rates 71 times. And what this resulted in was 0.5 percentage boost to global growth. So multiple roles, but fundamentally what we do is to help the world have monetary and financial stability.
Thank you, Madam.
There is a young lady over there raising her hand.
Can we have 3 other questions?
Yeah. We have
Can we
7
have
minutes.
2 girls? 7 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Can we have 2 girls and 1 boy this time?
Yes, 2 girls, 1 boy.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Din Bououdaz. I'm an aerospace engineering student here at the International University of Rabat. First of all, I would like to show that I'm really honored to have this word with you and to have the opportunity to ask you in person. My question is regarding the coronavirus. As we know today, coronavirus is spreading so fast around the world, mainly in China. China represents a huge economy for the world. You've mentioned in one of your latest posts that we can tackle this issue by working on trade, inequality, and the climate. My question is, how can these two key factors, the climate and the inequality, influence the global economy on like an economical aspect? And what are your strategies as a firefighter or family doctor to solve this problem? Thank you so much.
Great question. So, what I was saying in this blog that just came out is that in a world with more uncertainties, we have to do everything possible, one, not to add more uncertainties, more unpredictability, and two, bring down uncertainties as much as possible. What does that mean? In the case of trade, the more predictable trade rules are, the more efficient the trade system would be. And it is good for growth, it is good for jobs, it is also good for reducing poverty. Not very well known fact, but if you take my country, for example, Bulgaria, or any other more advanced economy, for an average family, trade brings the costs of the goods people buy down by 20, for a wealthy family, my apologies, for a wealthy family. So if you are wealthy, trade is good for you because you end up paying 25% less for what you buy. If you are poor, trade is essential for you because you pay 2/3 less for the goods you buy. So if trade is derailed, it is bad for everybody, but it is particularly bad for the lower income part of the population everywhere. And what we want to see is trade that is fair, inclusive, and also a trade system that is forward-leaning, that includes e-commerce, includes services, and we advocate in the fund very strongly to move in that direction. Inequalities, why are they a drag on growth? They are a drag on growth because inequalities actually exclude people from their full contribution to the economy. They make it so that people are left out, left behind. Businesses cannot flourish because the big companies are doing great, but the small guys are in trouble. So we are against inequality because it is morally wrong, but we are against inequality, including gender inequality, because it is bad for everybody. It is bad for growth. And climate crisis is the most significant challenge we all face. Climate shocks already create uncertainties. Look at Australia, what happened in the beginning of the year with the forest fires. And in your part of the world, we have droughts, we have floods, we have storms, we have problems with water, and all of this is going to only accelerate. So we have to pay attention to it. Now, why is this connected to the coronavirus? Because coronavirus is this sudden, unexpected shock on top of all these other issues that we are faced with. Right now, there is still a lot of uncertainty around the impact of coronavirus. What we know is that it has affected China the most. It has been already identified in other countries, but hasn't spread outside of China much. What we don't know is how quickly China would be able to fully contain it, how quickly a vaccine would become available so it can be prevented from spreading outside of China, and what would be the economic impact. we are hoping that it would be the V-curve impact. In other words, the Chinese economy slows down abruptly, but then the virus is contained and it recovers very quickly, and the overall impact on global growth is minimal. But we don't yet know whether this containment would be fast, and we don't yet know whether there may be a bigger spread outside of China. So we are watching it very carefully. We are obviously recommending the very simple thing, which is precautionary measures. Health systems, be ready. China, by the way, China has done quite a lot domestically to push liquidity in the economy, to buffer the economy against this impact, and they have the fiscal space to do more stimulus. But most importantly, China has deployed their health system. We need to always remember that, yes, for us it is the economics of coronavirus that we are charged to deal with. First and foremost, this is a human tragedy. And I think it would be right for the world, first and foremost, to express empathy for those that are affected by the virus.
Do we have time for another question?
It's working. Mme Georgieva, it's a pleasure having you here. My name is Mehdi Benjeloun. I'm a UIR student at the School of Political Science and International Relations. And my question is the following. What do you think of the economic situation of women in Africa? And what would the IMF, what does it do and what can it do to empower African women in the workforce, knowing that the African socio-political and economic context is entirely different from the European vision and context? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your question. Everybody who has ever been in Africa, in a rural area or in the city, inevitably has seen the tremendous resilience and strength of African women. You know the saying, holding half the sky, was it? The women hold the sky, half the sky? Well, never mind. I don't want to venture into my memory of that. But what we also know that there are legal barriers and there are cultural barriers for women to completely be included in African economies. Legal barriers, currently on average in the world, a woman on average has 75% of the legal rights of a man. And you go to the Middle East, in some countries it is half of the legal rights. Morocco, by the way, is 75%, so it is on the higher end for the region. This is fixable. It is in the hands of governments to remove the legal barriers that are holding women back. And I am very pleased that it is happening. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Jordan. This year, the six out of 10 best reformers to bring legal rights to women are in the Middle East region. And that, I think, is a tide, as you said, I believe the tide is turning because economies need women. Now, to the men in the audience, any country that wants to have a vibrant middle class ought to have 2 earners in the family. Or, alternatively, men have to become at least 1.6 times more productive than men in the rest of the world. Your choice. Kind of work more longer hours and more productively, or let's have women contribute. So that is the legal side. Culturally, I don't think it is for us. Every society has to handle its own cultural norms. And I think we have to be very respectful. They are there, but like everything else, they change. So I want to give you a personal example. Me and my husband. In my country, Bulgaria, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it was very, very rare to see a woman driving. So my husband and I are in the United States. I am behind the wheel driving. He sits next to me looking out of the window and says, oh, look, half of the women here half of the drivers here are women. Well, I said to him, well, half of the population, slightly more than half of the population of the planet are women. But you go to Bulgaria today, and it is half and half. Women drive as much as men. So our society has changed. And I believe very much that for this change to continue, we do need more women in leadership positions. Women like me that can come and tell the women in this audience, everything is possible. You can be anyone you choose to be. It's your choice. And just to finish with my personal story, I grew up on the other side of the Iron Curtain. I graduated for a university named Karl Marx University. And today I run the IMF. Everything is possible.
Well, thank you,
It's
Madam.
a good way to end.
Thank you, Madam Managing Director. I would like to thank you again on behalf of everyone for participating in this conference. Thank you for giving time to the Moroccan youth. And I hope that the IMF, Morocco, and the Moroccan youth continue to have a fruitful relationship.
And now it's time for a selfie. So you guys, I think I will do it like this. Okay, raise your heads up in the air. Here we are.